Next time you take a long bath, look down at your hands. After about 30 minutes in the water, something strange happens. The smooth skin on your fingertips begins to warp. Deep valleys form. They turn into pale, wrinkled prunes. For a very long time, science had a simple explanation for this. We were told it was osmosis. The dry layers of your skin were acting like a sponge, absorbing the bathwater, swelling up and buckling under the pressure. It sounds perfectly logical. It is also completely wrong. The truth is much stranger and a lot more deliberate. In the 1930s, hospital doctors noticed an anomaly. They were treating patients who had suffered severe nerve damage. Some of these patients had severed nerves in their arms. When the hands of these patients were submerged in water, nothing happened. They remained completely smooth. No wrinkles, no prunes. If wrinkling was just water soaking a sponge, nerve damage wouldn't stop it. A sponge doesn't need a brain to soak up water. This meant your wrinkled fingertips were not a passive chemical reaction. They were an active command, sent directly from your autonomic nervous system, the same system that controls your heartbeat and your breathing. When water touches your skin for an extended period, an alarm sounds. Your nervous system fires a signal down your arm. It tells the tiny blood vessels under your fingertips to constrict. They pull tightly away from the surface. The skin on top collapses inward to fill the empty space. This creates the folds. You're not swelling up. You're actively shrinking. But why would your body do this? Why burn precious energy to deform your own hands just because they got wet? For decades, biology had no answer. It was considered a useless evolutionary quirk, a biological glitch we never grew out of. Until 2011. Evolutionary neurobiologist Mark Changizi decided to look closer at the wrinkles. He didn't look at them as random folds. He looked at them as a deliberate network. Changizi mapped the wrinkles on 28 human fingers. He found a distinct pattern. The wrinkles were not random mountains and valleys. They all connected to a central point, and they all drained outward. Changizi realized he had seen this pattern before, not on an animal, on a car. Your fingertips are essentially rain treads. When a car drives on a wet road, smooth tires will slide. The water gets trapped between the rubber and the asphalt. The car hydroplanes. To stop this, tire engineers carve deep grooves into the rubber. These grooves give the water a place to escape. They channel the water away from the contact point, allowing the rubber to grip the solid road beneath. Your nervous system is doing the exact same thing. It is literally deploying a wet weather grip. To prove this, scientists needed to test human grip in the lab. In 2013, a biologist named Kyriakos Kareklas ran a simple experiment. He asked volunteers to pick up wet, heavy glass marbles. They had to move them from one container to another. First, they did it with dry, smooth hands. They struggled. The marbles slipped. Then they soaked their hands in warm water for 30 minutes. The deep wrinkles formed. They tried the marble test again. This time, they were significantly faster, up to 12% faster. The water channeled through the biological grooves in their skin. Their grip locked onto the glass. We have built-in slip-resistant technology, but the real story is why we have it. Why did human survival depend on moving wet objects? Think about our ancient ancestors, the early hominids living 200,000 years ago. They did not have grocery stores, they did not have advanced tools. They survived by foraging. Human evolution happened near rivers, lakes, and coastlines. Imagine standing barehanded in a rushing stream. You are starving. Your tribe is starving. You reach into the dark, freezing water. You feel the slick scales of a fish, or the smooth algae-covered shell of a clam. You have a fraction of a second to pull it out. If your fingers are perfectly smooth, the meal slips away, and you die. But as you stood in that river, your nervous system was already working. It sensed the moisture. It shrank your blood vessels. It deployed your rain treads. You grabbed the slippery meal, and you survived to pass on your genes. This is also why the wrinkles appear on your toes. Ancient humans did not wear waterproof boots. They had to sprint across wet grass. They had to maintain their footing on mossy rocks. A single slip while running from a predator meant death. Your wrinkled feet were your ancient hiking boots, gripping the wet earth when it mattered most. Which brings us to a glaring question. If wrinkly fingers give us superpowers in the rain, why stop there? Why aren't our hands wrinkled all the time? Why do they revert back to being smooth the moment we dry off? The answer comes down to cost. Every evolutionary advantage demands a sacrifice. When your fingertips wrinkle, the skin folds over itself. It becomes thicker, more rigid. This makes your sense of touch instantly plummet. Underneath your skin, you have thousands of microscopic touch receptors. They can feel a speck of dust. They can detect the slightest change in texture. But when the skin buckles into rain treads, those sensors are buried. Your hands go slightly numb. You trade sensation for friction. If your hands were permanently wrinkled, you could not perform delicate tasks. You could not weave a net. You could not carve a fragile bone needle. You could not tie a complex knot. So your body waits. It keeps your hands smooth and sensitive for 99% of your life. It only pulls the alarm when the environment turns wet and dangerous. We carry millions of years of history in our biology. Our bodies are essentially museums, filled with artifacts from ancient wars we fought against the elements. We don't need rain treads to sit in a modern bathtub. We don't need a hydroplaning reflex to scroll on a smartphone. But your nervous system doesn't know that. It doesn't know about plumbing, or supermarkets, or central heating. To your brain, water still means the wild. It means slippery rocks, rushing rivers, and the desperate hunt for survival. So, tonight, when the water drains from the tub, take a close look at the strange, pale valleys on your hands. You aren't just looking at pruny skin. You're looking at a living fossil, a biological weapon forged in ancient rivers, still waiting for the day. You have to catch your dinner with your bare hands again. Your body remembers the rain, even when you have forgotten it.